Please consider subscribing, it helps us pay our staff. Hezekiah Trusts God, 2 Kings 18 and 19. In the 14th year of the reign of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, the emperor of Assyria, attacked the fortified cities of Judah and conquered them. Hezekiah sent a message to Sennacherib, who was in Lachish. "I have done wrong. Please stop your attack, and I will pay whatever you demand." The emperor's answer was that Hezekiah should send him 10 tons of silver and 1 ton of gold. Hezekiah sent him all the silver in the temple and in the palace treasury. He also stripped the gold from the temple doors and the gold with which he himself had covered the doorposts, and he sent it all to Sennacherib. The Assyrian emperor sent a large army from Lachish to attack Hezekiah at Jerusalem. It was commanded by his 3 highest officials. When they arrived at Jerusalem, they occupied the road where the cloth makers work by the ditch that brings water from the upper pool. Then they sent for King Hezekiah, and 3 of his officials went out to meet them. Eliakim son of Hilkiah, who was in charge of the palace, Shebna, the court secretary, and Joah son of Asaph, who was in charge of the records. One of the Assyrian officials told them that the emperor wanted to know what made King Hezekiah so confident. He demanded, "Do you think that words can take the place of military skill and might? Who do you think will help you rebel against Assyria? You are expecting Egypt to help you, but that would be like using a reed as a walking stick. It would break and jab your hand. That is what the king of Egypt is like when anyone relies on him." The Assyrian official went on, "Or will you tell me that you are relying on the Lord your God?" It was the Lord's shrines and altars that Hezekiah destroyed when he told the people of Judah and Jerusalem to worship only at the altar in Jerusalem. "I will make a bargain with you in the name of the emperor. I will give you 2,000 horses if you can find that many men to ride them. You are no match for even the lowest-ranking Assyrian official, and yet you expect the Egyptians to send you chariots and cavalry. Do you think I have attacked your country and destroyed it without the Lord's help? The Lord himself told me to attack it and destroy it." Then Eliakim, Shebna, and Joah told the official, "Speak Aramaic to us, sir. We understand it. Don't speak Hebrew. All the people on the wall are listening." He replied, "Do you think you and the king are the only ones the emperor sent me to say all these things to? No, I am also talking to the people who are sitting on the wall, who will have to eat their excrement and drink their urine, just as you will." As soon as King Hezekiah heard their report, he tore his clothes in grief, put on sackcloth, and went to the temple of the Lord. He sent Eliakim, the official in charge of the palace, Shebna, the court secretary, and the senior priests to the prophet Isaiah son of Amoz. They also were wearing sackcloth. This is the message which he told them to give Isaiah. "Today is a day of suffering. We are being punished and are in disgrace. We are like a woman who is ready to give birth, but is too weak to do it. The Assyrian emperor has sent his chief official to insult the living God. May the Lord your God hear these insults and punish those who spoke them. So pray to God for those of our people who survive." When Isaiah received King Hezekiah's message, he sent back this answer: "The Lord tells you not to let the Assyrians frighten you with their claims that he cannot save you. The Lord will cause the emperor to hear a rumor that will make him go back to his own country, and the Lord will have him killed there." The Assyrian official learned that the emperor had left Lachish and was fighting against the nearby city of Libnah, so he went there to consult him. Word reached the Assyrians that the Egyptian army, led by King Tirhakah of Ethiopia, was coming to attack them. When the emperor heard this, he sent a letter to King Hezekiah of Judah to tell him, "The God you are trusting in has told you that you will not fall into my hands, but don't let that deceive you. You have heard what an Assyrian emperor does to any country he decides to destroy. Do you think that you can escape? My ancestors destroyed the cities of Gozan, Haran, and Rezeph, and killed the people of Bethedin who lived in Telassar, and none of their gods could save them. Where are the kings of the cities of Hamath, Arpad, Sepharvaim, Hena, and Iva?" King Hezekiah took the letter from the messengers and read it. Then he went to the temple, placed the letter there in the presence of the Lord, and prayed, O Lord, the God of Israel, seated on your throne above the winged creatures, you alone are God, ruling all the kingdoms of the world. You created the earth and the sky. Now, Lord, look at what is happening to us. Listen to all the things that Sennacherib is saying to insult you, the living God. We all know, Lord, that the emperors of Assyria have destroyed many nations, made their lands desolate, and burned up their gods, which were no gods at all, only images of wood and stone made by human hands. Now, Lord our God, rescue us from the Assyrians, so that all the nations of the world will know that only you, O Lord, are God. Then Isaiah sent a message telling King Hezekiah that in answer to the king's prayer the Lord had said, "The city of Jerusalem laughs at you, Sennacherib, and makes fun of you. Whom do you think you have been insulting and ridiculing? You have been disrespectful to me, the holy God of Israel. You sent your messengers to boast to me that with all your chariots you had conquered the highest mountains of Lebanon. You boasted that there you cut down the tallest cedars and the finest cypress trees, and that you reached the deepest parts of the forests. You boasted that you dug wells and drank water in foreign lands, and that the feet of your soldiers tramped the Nile River dry. Have you never heard that I planned all this long ago? And now I have carried it out. I gave you the power to turn fortified cities into piles of rubble. The people who lived there were powerless. They were frightened and stunned. They were like grass in a field or weeds growing on a roof when the hot east wind blasts them. But I know everything about you, what you do, and where you go. I know how you rage against me. I have received the report of that rage and that pride of yours, and now I will put a hook through your nose and a bit in your mouth, and take you back by the same road you came." Then Isaiah said to King Hezekiah, "Here is a sign of what will happen. This year and next you will have only wild grain to eat, but the following year you will be able to plant your grain and harvest it, and plant vines and eat grapes. Those in Judah who survive will flourish like plants that send roots deep into the ground and produce fruit. There will be people in Jerusalem and on Mount Zion who will survive, because the Lord is determined to make this happen. And this is what the Lord has said about the Assyrian emperor. He will not enter this city or shoot a single arrow against it. No soldiers with shields will come near the city, and no siege mounds will be built around it. He will go back by the same road he came, without entering this city. I, the Lord, have spoken. I will defend this city and protect it, for the sake of my own honor, and because of the promise I made to my servant David." That night, an angel of the Lord went to the Assyrian camp and killed 185,000 soldiers. At dawn the next day there they lay, all dead. Then the Assyrian emperor Sennacherib withdrew and returned to Nineveh. One day, when he was worshipping in the temple of his god Nisroch, 2 of his sons, Adramelech and Sharezer, killed him with their swords and then escaped to the land of Ararat. Another of his sons, Esarhaddon, succeeded him as emperor.